Good morning, traders. So we are still using the Bull Williams and looking at the Aussie, the South African top 40. So the confusion continues. So up one day, down the next day, indecisive the day after, then big up, big down, inside bar at the moment. The trend is up. It is up for whatever that is, but it's not, you want to see a proper trend. You don't want to see this kind of nonsense. It's very difficult to trade this on the higher time frames. So, for me right now, let's just get to the weekly so I can show you where I'm coming off. So I'm basically taking this inside tail here because there are a couple of levels at this area. Okay, you can see quite a few areas. So this level of, let's call it 48,600 area, give or take 100 points either way, okay, because it is the Aussie, is the level to the upside. The level to the downside, that's, as far as I'm concerned, is holding this whole thing together, is this previous swing high here. Okay, so that is my range. Okay, now within this range you can see the interesting thing is that we are getting higher highs. Okay, and we're getting higher highs and we're getting higher lows. Okay, so this could be a big flat top triangle. To me, it's just a range. There's too many bars in this to be a flat top triangle. Okay, if it you want to see a break, you want to see a solid breakup. So the point is, for me, trying to trade the longer time frames is kind of pointless on this asset. I'd rather, there's a better setup on the Dax brewing at the moment. So that's the one that I'm going to go after today, Dax, and probably the Dow as well later this afternoon. Looking for continuation there. But for the Aussie on the higher time frames, I kind of sit on my hands. I don't see anything here. If we just get down to the hour, you'll see, down, up, down, lots of confusion. We're back below the alligator, and trying to trade with the trend on the alligator at the moment on the hour is near impossible, because we'll break through, come to test, and you think this is the entry, and then it moves down and it'll stop you out. So there's no real direction from the hour up. Okay. However, if we look at the half hour, so the half hour is the one which is probably getting your intraday trades done correctly. And that is the closing range strategies. In other words, when you get a breakout below the closing range or above the closing range, that is your entry. And I'll show you on the lower time frames. But there's my first target area. And you can see that's exactly where the profit was taken, and we sort of hovered around there for the rest of the day. Okay, so if I move down to sort of a 6 or a 5 minute chart, most people will use the 5 minutes, so let's just use the 5 minute. So what you'll see here, this was the range, that's the closing range, and we kind of had a bit of a gap down. Okay, and when the gap's this narrow, you can always suspect that we're going to close that gap. So we had a gap down, moved down, came onto the 200 moving average, so we've broken the range to the downside. So that is a trigger for for a short, and the stop is above the height of the range. Okay, but what I always like to do is just wait for a pullback, because sometimes it pulls back to, you can see there's a little gap that it left there. Okay, and when the daily gap is so close, often you're pretty sure that it's going to pull back and close that gap, and that would have been your entry short. Okay, the reason being, you've had a 5 minute close, you've probably 5, 10, 15 minute close, you've had a half hour close actually below the range, so that's a fairly strong signal. But you do have a magnet up here, which is a gap, so that was the most logical area to put your trade. Your second thing is, a lot of the time when you have a break, you have pull back to 50% of the height of the range, and you can see there's the 50%. Okay, so pull back to 50% of the range. In actual fact, I've got this running the wrong way. You'll see, if we do it from the top down, you'll more than likely get to the 61.8. It's bang on the 61.8. There it is. There's your entry short. And the reason being you've broken the range. Okay. So you can see short and it sort of meanders a bit, sell off, back up, test the break of the range. That's what it's doing there. Come down and hit the range break target. And then you can see the buyer stepped in off the range break target to try and drive price up. And they've basically ended up with a triple bottom here. Okay. Anyway, that's the only thing that is actually working out at this stage is your closing range strategy. So it worked out yesterday. It worked out the day before. And it actually worked out the day before that as well, although it would have been a little bit stressful. And the day before that it did work out, but that was on the gap. The day before that worked out, and the day before that worked out. The day before that also worked out, but it was a gap, big gap. And the day before that also worked out. Okay, so that is the only strategy that's really working with the Aussie at the moment. So that's the one that I would suggest you follow today as well. So in other words, put your levels in like that. If you get a 5-minute break above 48 to 30, so if you get a 5-minute close above 48 to 30, that's your signal for a long, and a 5-minute close below 47.995, that's your signal for a short. Okay, but I suspect we're going to move to the upside. Let's just do one last, see where this pullback has happened to. Okay, onto 61.8. So break above 48 to 30. Yeah, so break above 48 to 30 is going to give us a move to the upside. And I would more than likely expect this thing to do something like this. And I just want to go to a much higher time frame. Which lines up with the previous highs. Okay, so that is a possibility. And that's pretty much what I think I'll trade. But just do pay attention to do pay attention to 48,500. So 48,500 is going to be an area of resistance, which will be the previous high of 2 days ago. Okay, there we go. That's my view on this today. Closing range strategy is the one to trade. Breaks above on a 5-minute. Either take that long with a small position and then add on the next pullback, or wait for the first pullback and then take the trade. Okay, anyway guys, that's it for me on the Aussie. Hope it helps, and stay safe, keep your stops tight. I'll catch you guys later. Cheers.